Welcome back to The Short Game. This is a show about short video games, games that respect your time. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined this week by one capitalist co-host,
Laura Nash, and I'm sad because I am a capitalist, but also sad about it, which is this game.
I got a lot. This game gave me a lot of thoughts, Laura. I can't decide if this was the best time to play this game or the worst time to play this game, but we got a lot. We'll talk about it. So this week we are playing Trash the Planet, which is a free clicker game that came out near the end of 2021. You can play it online, itch.io. It was released by This Game is Haunted, is the group that put it out, and I had a lot of fun with it. It certainly, even though it is a game from 4 years ago, it feels even more relevant to right now. But I know you did a little bit of research on where this game came from. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, This Game is Haunted is based out of Portland. They're a collective of friends. They worked on this as part of a summer game jam. And then they thought, well, let's keep going on this. Let's make it a little bit more mature. So it ends up being what they were calling a 5-act parable. But the idea was, quote, what if we made a game that teaches people about the mechanisms and ethical perils of a capitalist macroeconomics? And then there's the shrug emoji. But they wanted to be a little more fun.
Sure.
They also called it they wanted to make a narrative resource management game. So
Yeah.
all of the short game markers of narrative focused, lots of text, but systems driven.
Yeah, this almost felt more like a really advanced interactive fiction game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the even though there's a lot of systems and some fun and cheeky systems as well, the brunt of this game is reading and interacting with the characters and sort of understanding the impact of your actions. Before we get too far, though, I do want to shout out Jesse from the Discord. The Short Game Galerius it continues to throw out good recommendations. So thank you, Jesse. This was a great one. I'm glad we had a chance to play it. A resource management narrative interactive fiction game is a good definition or a good sort of genre tag for it, but it self-proclaims itself as a clicker.
Yes.
Now, if you are a Last of Us fan, don't worry. We don't mean that kind of clicker.
Oh, no.
When I think of clickers, I definitely think of like throwback internet games, right? Like free internet games that are often have some degree of passive element to it, where there's maybe something in the background accruing resources and you're checking in on it. It's usually some version of like an extended resource management game with some passive and real-time engagement. This one has a little bit of passive, but for the most part, you're kind of sitting and playing it. At least that's what I did. I played this in 2 sittings. You could do it all in one. I think it took maybe 2-3 hours to do the whole thing.
I did it all in one. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right. It's a pretty active passive clicker. It is an idle game in some ways, in that the systems will continue accruing if you do nothing. But this is much more. The game is also incentivized to make you take more and more actions over time. Mm-hmm. And like many of the idle game clicker genre, there's kind of a leveling up. Like at some point you are going through the powers of 10. You're just scaling up and up and up. And, it starts off in ones and then tens and then hundreds and then thousands and on and on and on and up. So if you're familiar with the Darkroom universal paper clips of it, that scale and everything changing. I mean, they say it's a 5-act parable. Those 5 acts are very different.
They are pretty remarkably different, especially as you get further into it. I was quite surprised just how much this game packs in. It really develops, and it is a full story, a full thing. I mean, for a free browser-based game, I was quite shocked at just how complete this game was, and the everything about it, from the design, the writing, to the music, which was incredible. I found myself just listening to some of the soundtrack. In fact, at the beginning of the game, it asks you if you want music on or off, but it says in parentheses like it's really good.
It's
So
actually good.
it's
Yeah.
actually good or something like that. And so it's like, hell yeah. And I played it with headphones, and there were times, there was actually a moment where I was done for the night, and I tried to just close my laptop because I wanted to keep it going. And I don't know if it was like the active nature of the game or my browser or whatever, but my laptop was closed, but the game was still playing. And so I just had the music playing in my headphones because I had my
Yeah.
AirPods on, and I was like getting ready to like open up the laptop and shut the whole thing down. But I found myself just like, hold on, I actually just want to listen to this. And I just listened to one of the songs for like 5 minutes straight as it just looped over and over, because I was like, this is really, really a really fun song. It was the song that plays when you are chatting in the cell phone with all of your raccoon council. And it's awesome. So
Yes.
anyway, yeah, clickers, I definitely felt like I played a lot of them back in the day when everybody was on like E-Bombs World and any, Flash game universe that was so prolific. And I absolutely loved the Dark Room. We were talking about before we hopped on. That was, or a Dark Room. That was, that is, if you've been with us since the beginning,
Episode 28.
Episode 28. We are approaching 500 episodes. So episode 28 was on A Dark Room, which I understand is still out there. Still, it's been improved. It's still a game that you can go and play, and it's highly recommended. Almost our game of the year back in 2014.
Ooh. Number 2.
Yeah, very
Back
different.
when we only rated 4 games total for that year.
Okay, but what is Trash the Planet? Can you give us kind of a overview of the story here and what this game is?
And I'll say off the top, I do recommend playing this game. I had a really good time with it. It's only a couple hours. I will not be talking in detail about Act 4 and beyond, but I think it's important to know like 1, 2, 3 a little bit to get what this game's about.
Yeah.
So your raccoons, very important to know your raccoons. And you start off just gathering food and then gathering trash.
And this is that passive part of the game. Like, you have a set amount of raccoons, and you can assign them to either collect food or collect trash. And there's tickers going, and like, we have to have X amount of food at X amount of time to feed our raccoons. And so you need to make sure you've allocated enough raccoons to collect food to hit that demand. And you're increasingly receiving more raccoons.
Yeah. Snowball effect.
Yeah.
The more raccoons you have, the more want to come because you're proving you're feeding them. And then you can start adding things like shelter or doing research to improve. There even is a little nod to like a King of Dragon Pass where you have scenarios where you're trying to decide what you're doing. And they're poems, which I found very funny that all of the options rhyme.
Yeah, they're like they're limericks, aren't they? It's like a full-on limerick, and then you have to choose an answer to.
But it's very lightweight narrative, but you're starting to get a feeling that the people behind this can write early. Yes. I look for that in a clicker, because if I don't think something weird is going on, surreal is going on, or there's good writing, I'm like, this is just trying to take my time for no reason. So they early on seed like, there's going to be more here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty smart way to get that writing in early. This game has no shortage of writing. Again, reading is the predominant thing you're doing in this game. There are all these systems that we're going to continue to talk about, but there's so much text in this game. And when you when you are just standard raccoons who can't yet talk to each other or send text messages, they have to find other ways to introduce text and these scenarios, which don't really come back in this format, is a pretty smart way to like drop in some good writing early on as you allocate your raccoons to either finding food, gathering trash, sorting trash, research and development, or building. And the research, when that unlocked, was really where I started like, okay,
Aha, there's something here.
This game is going to do something fun and funny because you're researching like you get an objective and it's research advanced stealing, right? That's the thing you need at the top. But along the way, you're researching things like human language and label makers and stuff like that that give you improvements to your, and now you gather trash at X% faster or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it's really about introducing the fact that these raccoons are they're leveling up. They're becoming smart. Yeah, they're becoming smarter.
Also, I laughed because it almost feels like it's mirroring the history of text games, because it starts off in Act 1 where you're getting these these long things. You don't have a ton of choice. There's a lot of writing, but the choices are limited. Then in Act 2, as you're doing sorting trash and you have more systems are building, you're doing research, you're doing more than one thing at a time. There's also a bulletin board where you're getting as you research human language, the raccoons start posting very funny messages to each other. The second one is, we live in a society.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, the message board feels real. There's like R looking for R, 3R looking for 3R to share my trash with. It's all raccoons wanting to basically engage with other raccoons and around trash, but they are becoming increasingly aware of themselves and society and a desire to make money.
Yes. The second message you get feels like a post you'll all have heard on social media a lot. We live in a society says, "Hey, everyone. I know we've all recently become aware of ourselves, learned to read and write, and have started constructing rudimentary shelters. It's a lot. But I wanted to post this up and let everyone know that it's okay to just chill. Changing your entire conception of self and society is a lot to go through. So it's totally valid to take some time for yourself."
It's good advice. It's good advice.
It's good advice. Nothing to do with the game or systems, just a thing to read while you're passively clicking. And again, early on, this is just the second phase, giving you a sense of the humor and vibe it's going for.
Yeah.
Gets more and more targeted as it goes.
Yeah. As the raccoons become increasingly capitalistic and society gets more and more complicated, it's like part of me, I said this kind of at the top of the episode, but as like right now we're in the midst of this isn't a political show, but I think if you listen to us long enough, you have a general sense of our of where we stand. Yeah. And as we as the financial world in front of us gets more and more complicated and terrifying in different ways, I don't know, part of me was like, all right, hell yeah, let's just embrace these little capitalistic raccoons, and just like, it was almost like cathartic to see them just get like eviler and eviler, and I'm getting way ahead of myself, but this is the game, is these raccoons figuring out society and slowly but surely wanting to just make more and more money, which really comes into play in Act 3.
Yes. So you've done food necromancy, which is what they call farming. And then you finally, the transition image, there's illustrations of these raccoons for each. So the first transition to 1 or 2, you find a mirror and you look at yourself. Self-awareness.
Wow.
Transition from 2 to 3 is raccoon looking into a window at a stock market trash can with dollar signs in his eyes. Well, a stock ticker is projected onto his face.
Yes. Yeah. So you've done all of this. The first 2 acts are all about basically generating trash.
Yeah. Just trash.
Just trash. And trash is a valuable resource to a raccoon, right? They eat trash. It's a core part of the world for raccoons. But they've realized, as they've gained sentience, that they can use their newfound strengths to basically convert this trash into dollars and slowly use that to take over the stock market and eventually take over the world. So what you're now in is this little mini game, and this was the longest chapter, I think, at least
by far the beefiest. So
yeah.
again, very much think if you want to play it yourself, go do that. But you're going to be in the stage for a while, so I think it's fine to talk about it.
Yeah.
I do not consider this a spoiler because it feels like the heart of the game.
It really is. You get through phase 1 and phase 2, or act 1 and act 2, pretty quickly. I think
quickly.
Within the first probably half hour or so, you're into act 3. And then it's a whole new game, right? So you've got a couple of systems, as well as you are now the mayor of, I guess, the planet. And you have a set of advisors. Your chief advisor is the CEO of your organization, is Cash Baby.
Money Baby.
Money Baby. Sorry.
No. Cash could be Cash Baby. That's probably his deputy is probably Cash Baby.
Yeah, Money Baby. And Money Baby is a diabolical, purely driven by profit individual, and they are one of your advisors. And then you have a team of other raccoon advisors like Cool Teacher, Dirt, who is a prophet, the Doctor. There's a couple other ones that are slipping my mind right now.
Cool Teacher. There's Dirt. There's the Dirt, the religious fanatic. Your pop culture girly. Vanilla, I think is her name.
Vanilla, yeah.
Excellent posse you continue to get. And you have a little bit of, you're texting these raccoons on your cell phone, which you also use to track stonk prices. And you're a little bit concerned that the stratification of society is happening so quickly. But yeah, you're mostly just, you're in a clicker game, baby.
Yeah, make money, get paid.
Make money.
Yeah.
Get that number to 40.
So your objective in this section is to make enough money to acquire business beans. And business beans you accrue through dominating the stock market. And it is very simply a buy low, sell high sort of thing. So you're constantly accruing trash, and there is a ticker running, which is the price at which trash is being able to sell for, that is constantly going up and then crashing down to nothing, and then going back up and then crashing down to nothing. There's actually like a popular online casino game called Crash that I think this is, sort of modeled after, where it's literally you're just gambling. Like, this line goes up and you click a button to like sell, and you don't know when that line's going to stop going up and go to zero. If it goes to zero, you lose everything. If it goes, but you try to click it like as high as you can. And I mean, it's just a terribly addicting, really bad for you online gambling game. And it models kind of the stock market, right? And that's what you're doing here. And that's your early source of income, is just playing this sort of up-down nature of the stock market.
But quickly you get enough power to cheat. And then the rest of the game is cheating. How can you cheat? Can you make it so that the different stocks radically drop their prices, and you can sell for a couple minutes and you can buy them real fast and sell them high? Do you use bin-sider trading? That is not a mispronouncement. It is called bin-sider trading because it's the garbage market.
A lot of raccoon puns, as you would expect.
A lot of raccoon puns to cheat. And the higher up you go, the more power you do. Of course, you are accruing stuff way faster, and you can cheat way harder. They do have a full tutorial if you want it. I looked at it just for game reviewing, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah, I went through the tutorial as well. I found it helpful, but I do think you could probably figure these things out on your own. There was a great line from the tutorial. This is Money Baby giving you advice. It says, you could even buy a bunch of shares cheap, then sell them once the price goes back to normal. It's pure profit, and it's not illegal because we paid to change all the dumb laws. Party time. That's the kind of writing we're talking. I mean, just blatant, like, profit centric, fuck everybody, make as much money as possible as quickly as possible. And if you're going to get in trouble, just buy out the people who are trying to enforce the laws.
Because as Money Baby says, the best part about fracking is that none of the studies we've paid for shows that fracking does any harm.
Yeah.
That kind of. It's not a subtlety is overrated. This game is not subtle, but it is definitely the signs that you are doing bad are everywhere. But that doesn't matter because you're getting texts about road trips and
I mean, everyone in your little council is having an absolutely wonderful time as you are just for a while. You're just making as much money as possible. You start in the thousands, and you, as Laura said earlier, you work your way up from the thousands to the millions, into the billions, into the trillions, into the quadrillions. And then one of my favorite jokes is that at a certain point you reach a certain amount of money and it just says LOL. Your money counter is just LOL now, and is, as far as I can tell, is basically just locked in at LOL, and you now have infinite resources.
Yeah. And you are, at that point, the game is like, move on. You're ready for the next stage. We won't talk about, but 4 and 5 are very different. But, you can slow roll this, or I think there's actually a lot of different ways to win. I was playing on kind of fast mode, but all of the text messages and stuff are definitely trigger based. So if you buy like 10 different things at once because you suddenly have an influx of money, you're going to get a bunch of text messages. But so pace yourself. But I found it a very, some of these games can feel very bad when you are starting out and low on funds. This game kept me entertained by things like underneath the stock ticker is a news ticker with headlines like fathers and sons go out to enjoy the Black Parade. So dumb, so perfect.
There's actually so much writing in this game and so many text messages that at times I found myself just that's where I think this game actually does want you to kind of take it slow and be sort of a clicker experience. For me, I was really just trying to play through it, which was I was able to. Again, a couple hours, and for me it was 2 sittings, mostly because I started late at night for the first one. But I think if you took your time with it too and just let some of these tickers go up and really not try to min-max like your time, it would feel a little bit better. Because you are getting text messages from your little posse of raccoon friends over and over and over, and they're each of them are funny.
They're worth reading.
They're worth reading. Like we're mostly talking about like the systems in this game because that's what you're interacting with.
And we don't want to spoil the fun of the text, but I took a ton of screenshots for a reason.
I did too. It really is very good writing, and it's enjoyable, though dark and depressing at the same time because of everything that you're doing. But it was still just kind of fun to just be a shitty raccoon who's just trying to make as much money as possible for the first few sections.
Oh yeah, and I do think the fact that they had multiple systems, multiple ways to make money, made it feel a little bit more than a clicker game. I love a game where the complexity expands as you go, but it doesn't feel. I never felt like I needed to really think at any moment, and I think that's a good thing. This game is about having too much fun to think, and so if I had to be strategic, I think it would have been a mechanical problem.
Yeah, like the most you really have to think, at least for me, is remembering what the stock prices are before you manipulate them. Because you can force them to go down or force them to go up, and I'd be like, all right, this one was worth $1 trillion. I'm going to click this button. Okay, cool. Now it's worth 500 billion. If I buy 8 of them, then I'll make trillions when it goes back up from another button that I click, because we are manipulating the market.
This is very much like all clickers, which is do a thing well, the goalposts move. You continue
Hmm.
doing the exact thing, but same thing, but the numbers are bigger. And for some reason, your little monkey brain says this is better. It's the exact same mechanics when you have $1,000 and 3 billion. But man, it feels better to do it with 3 billion, maybe.
It does when because you make these leaps where you're like, okay, this stock was it did cost 100 million, and now I just made it to
For
the next
one.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, for one stock, and now I just made it to the next level, and my profits are now in the billions on each
Mm-hmm.
click instead of the millions. And yeah, it's stupid that feels so good in this stupid. It does. You're like, nice. All right, now I can level up even faster, and I can buy these other stocks because they're still down in the millions, and I'm making billions over here, baby. You know?
It is a richer system design, and it is very good for what they're trying to communicate.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like we don't I think we don't want to talk about spoilers for sections 4 and 5, but I just say it is a total again a total shift, and I think the message of the game. uh, you're doing a lot of sowing in the first 3 chapters, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start to reap. You're reaping what you're sowing through the rest of it.
But a lot of educational games are bummers from the start. If there's a game
Yeah.
that's called Don't Be Evil, a lot of those games make being evil feel bad. And at
Hmm.
the end, they're like, shouldn't have been evil. Like, that was the point of the game. This game knows that the only way to make its point is for it to feel fun to be part of this capitalist machine. Like, you
Yeah.
enjoy this roller coaster you're on. And that's the point of it, is that it's fun, or people wouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I know everyone loves this fun fact. I've heard it 1,000 times, but like Monopoly, the board game, right, was
Mm-hmm.
designed to teach people how bad capitalism is.
Right.
Because by the end of it, everyone except for the winner is basically supposed to be having a
Hideous.
horrible time, right? And the winner is supposed to be like dunking on everyone, buying everything, and everyone's run out of the game and they can't play it anymore. And that's like by design how the game is going to work. But because that's so unfun for most people, like everyone has their little house rules, or you just never actually finish a game or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that lesson of Monopoly in a children's board game, no one ever really got that lesson from it. I think this game does a good job of actually having that fun part where you're winning,
Mm-hmm.
but then you get the lesson, and I don't think any of us needed this version of this lesson. It's pretty,
Yeah.
at least none of us playing, and maybe our listeners. There's a lot of people that I would love to hand this game to right now, but
Yes.
that's a so.
But I don't think they're going to make time for a free browser based game, much as I would love it if they were.
Put this in
I
our
might throw this into
schools.
my work chat, though.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But I just to say, like this game ultimately is besides it being something that is very fun and funny and enjoyable and just silly and so much, it clearly has a broader message that it's trying to communicate, and does so about as plainly and bluntly as you possibly can with something like this. And I would say that like a lot of times, even if it's a message I completely agree with,
Mhm.
that doesn't land very well in a video game. It can come off as preachy or uh, soapboxy or just boring.
Yeah.
And that is not the case here. I enjoyed this all the way to the end.
And if you are a person who is playing this or hearing this and going, cool, I don't play browser based games because I'm scared I'm going to lose all my stuff, there
Oh
are
yeah,
downloadable versions. So
yeah,
just wanted to say, like, it's not that long. I played it on one setting, but you can have a pretty good time. I tested the Mac version, worked great.
yeah.
So,
And I also I played it overnight, shut my computer, forgot because I'm smart, and restarted my computer and went back to the browser, and it was totally no problem. And it was still working for me. So, I know Your mileage may vary on that, but I was able to play entirely in browser, including shutting it all down and getting back into it without any problem. So you can find this just, it's on their website or on itch.io, or just search. You all know how to use the internet. You can find this game. It's called Trash the Planet.
Yeah, and they did say in their Labor Day update when they released the downloadable version that they consider it complete. So you don't have to worry that there's going to be a Trash the Planet 3.0 that's going to drop suddenly the second after you release a podcast episode. They consider it done, and they're pretty proud of it. I think they should be. This is a terrific little gem. Thank you, Jesse.
Yes. Yeah, I'm super glad we played this. And Laura, this is the second Raccoon trash game that we've played on this show, Donut County. And through my research, actually, there's a lot of raccoon-based games. Popular main character for a video game, I guess. Yeah. And in fact, I got a little segment for you here. I got a little game I put together because I thought this might we might end a little early. But before we get to that, did you have any other things you want to say about this game?
One little thing, and that is that there is a double joke in here in Act 3 when they ask you your name, and you say your name is TK. And that's good for two reasons. One is TK is what you type in docs as placeholder text. So that's excellent.
Nice.
The second is Donut County, BK.
Oh, nice. Okay,
so it's both a reference to Donut County and a placeholder text name. So I just wanted to say that one thing. She brought up Donut County. Now we can play your game because I've given the nerd
I love
editing
that.
joke
corner. I love that. Okay, so I've got a list of names of games. Okay.
Oh no.
Some of them are real games that feature raccoons.
Okay.
Some of them are fake that I made up. You have to say.
I'm going to be so bad at this. This is not a thing I researched ahead of time, folks. I'm not a plant. Nate did not tell me about this game.
No, she's learning about this. We don't really do this sort of thing on this show, but I knew it was just going to be.
But normally I'm the one who does it.
I know. So I'm getting lower.
Turnabout's fair play. Go for it.
Yeah, don't worry. This is all stupid.
You
shouldn't be good at this, but here we go. Okay, first one, Raccoon Hero.
Fake.
No, that is a real game, a lesser-known indie platformer. It came out a few years ago. Okay. Dumpster Divers.
I mean, that one feels really real, which makes me think it's fake, but I think it's real.
I made that one up. You're 0 for 2.
Yeah, I was going to say it's too good of a name, so I was like, so Nate probably made it up.
All right.
Okay.
Get out of my trash.
Right. Get out of my trash?
Yeah.
Oh, God. If this exists, I feel like it's some horrible mobile game. I'm going to go completely, I'm going to miss all these. Not real?
That one I made up. You got one.
Okay.
There's a point for Laura. Get out of my trash, not a real game. 1 point. Okay. Raccoon Racers.
Real.
That is real. It is a online driving safety game. Raccoon Racers. Okay. Rift Raccoon.
Ooh. Is this some would Nate make up the name Rift Raccoon?
No, there's layers here.
There's layers to this one. I'm going to say real.
Rift Raccoon is a real game. It is a challenging precision platformer where you control a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah. A teleporting raccoon. It actually looked kind of fun. So, all right. Raccoon Country.
If this exists, it's a Donut County rip, so I'm going to say no and hope for the world is better than it is.
It is not real. Raccoon Country.
Okay, good.
All right, I got a couple more for you. Trash Quest.
Real.
That is real. Yes, it's a Metroidvania.
Oh.
All right, and finally, Raccoons, Thief in the Night.
Fake.
Yeah, that's a fake one.
I was going to say, was this an IF comp last year?
Had to include
if it is, I feel really bad. I got better.
You did. You started to catch on. So, all right. Good job, Laura. I think you got 4 of the 8, so not bad. Yeah.
It's not a passing grade, but I'll take it.
For a game that never existed and will never again, I think you did pretty well.
I statistically hit the exact score I should if I was randomly guessing.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll check out Trash Quest or Rift Raccoon or I don't know, Raccoon Hero. Some of these sound pretty good. So
I mean, we did so many Berwick episodes. There are other animals.
Yeah, that's true. We've been slowly but surely planning another Bird Week episode. It's been like 7 years. Since we've done
Most people listening to this have no idea what Bird Week is.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to do Raccoon Week. I think we were also floated Crab Week at one point too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we thought that there was going to be a bigger crab game surge, but I think it was a very short-lived trend.
For a moment, crabs were big.
Yeah.
Bring back crabs.
Yeah.
We need more crabs.
I think crabs are working on bringing back crabs on their own.
I was just
they
reading
don't need our
about
help.
There was that there's like a crab theory of evolution. Have you heard about this?
Everything turns into crabs.
Everything turns into crabs. Yeah.
It's carcination, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Like there's science has shown that
carcinization.
Multiple different species have all evolved into crabs. So on a long enough timeline, maybe we all will evolve into crabs. Might be better.
That is not the end of this game, but it could have been.
Could have been. Maybe it should have been. All right. I think any other raccoon-based content you want to talk about, or should we move into a little making me happy?
I think making us happy is completely fair.
Okay.
Yeah. What you got? Right. What is making you happy, Nate?
Yeah, I got a bunch. It's been a little while since we've done this segment. So I've got sort of a 1-2 punch here. So I think probably most people know that you can rent video games from your local library. If you don't know that, like at least I think most public libraries have a video game section. What I didn't know until relatively recently is that you could actually go onto their, at least for now, you can go onto their app and request like a much larger catalog. Because if your library was like mine, like had a whole row of games, but it was all like the shovelware of the Nintendo Switch that like no one's ever playing, right? But I found you can go on and request copies of games, and from there the catalog was pretty much the entire Nintendo Switch catalog. And so first of all, shout out to public libraries now more than ever. When you're returning your books, maybe just slide a 20 in there too, just
tip your bartender and also your librarian.
Tip your librarian. And so I use this opportunity to request a game that I've wanted to play for a very long time. It's actually not even a Switch game, but it's been released on the Switch. It's Paper Mario: A Thousand Year Door. Have you ever played this?
I gave that to Justin 3 months, for his birthday, very few months into our relationship.
Okay.
I found a copy of it and gave it to him, and he was why? I was like, you mentioned playing this. Like, this was me listening. Like, this is a cheap gift that shows I listened.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't have anything to play this on. So then the second half of the gift was me getting a device you could play it on.
Wow. What a 1-2 punch.
That 1-2 punch. That was the second gift that happened a month later.
Yeah, that was the plan, right? So
sure.
I got Paper Mario: 1,000 Year Door. I've not played a paper. Like I messed around with the original one on Nintendo 64 when it was contemporary. Like I remember playing it at in 90s or whenever that was. But I haven't played with any of them since then, but I've always had in the back of my mind, I really want to play 1,000 Year Door. Everyone speaks so highly of it. And so took this opportunity to play it. And I'm like 9 or 10 hours into it, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a JRPG set in like a version of the Mario universe. I don't think it's canon Mario universe because like in the world there is also a Nintendo DS and they're playing other Nintendo games, which really is there
a Mario canon?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you're Mario, you're walking around with his classic. Everyone knows Mario and his trusty hammer. Classic Mario equipment.
Classic Mario.
big wooden hammer. And you're trying to find the 7 stars to go in and do a thing and rescue Princess Peach and all that. But it's really, really delightful. It's funnier than I expected it to be. And I'm enjoying the mechanics. It's a JRPG turn-based, but it has like a degree of platforming sort of real-time element to it that feels a little bit like a Mario game, where like you have to, when you're jumping on a bad guy, you have to time it exactly right to get a bonus, things like that at least makes it feel a little bit more Mario-esque. And I don't know, it's cute. I'm enjoying it, and I'm hoping to continue playing it. And so shout out to the public library, and shout out to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Laura, what's been making you happy?
So mine is a promise of future happiness, which is
Ooh.
I love reading a murder mystery set in the place that I'm going. If I
love that idea.
And I love taking there's some kind of luxury. If I can read a physical book like on a beach or in a hotel room, it just feels like I'm imbuing that paper with a memory of the place. And also it's just way funnier to be in Vienna reading an opera house murder or something like that.
Sure.
So my husband's at a conference in Montreal. I'll be joining him tomorrow. And then their workshops are in a ski town because the organizer of the conference wanted to go skiing. So the conferences, all the workshops are like 7 a.m. to 2 so that the guy who's teaching it can go ski afterwards. So I have, it's set in the Alps, so it's not exactly right, but I have a ski chalet murder mystery that I already had bought in the past and just hadn't gotten around to reading, called Cross Skis. And it's double exciting for me because it is, there's a English crime writer called E.C.L. Lorac, who has like 8 pseudonyms. And she's been out of print for a lot. Her actual name's like Edith Rivet, but she also wrote under Carol Karnak and 4 other names. This is one she wrote under Carol Karnak, but I don't know why she has so many.
Yeah,
pseudonyms.
I was just sitting here thinking, why have? I understand a pseudonym to some degree, but so many different ones.
Yeah. So E.C.R. Lorac, Carol Karnak, and Mary LeBourne. But she only wrote detective fiction, so it's not like Agatha Christie wrote romance novels under a different name. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but I'm really excited to read
It's a mystery.
Cross Skis. Because there is a group of people in the Australian Alps who, 16 skiers become 16 suspects. Which seems very, very exciting. It'll be nice and cold and snowy, which will be weird because it's about 60 in New York right now. But I have one more opportunity to read Cross Skis, an alpine mystery, in the actual vibey place. And I'm going to go to a spa in the middle of the woods, and I'm going to sit in the water and read this book.
Nice. That sounds
sit
wonderful.
in a hot spring in the woods with snow on the ground, reading a murder mystery at a ski chalet, and I'm gonna feel like $1 million, even though the currency exchange is very much in my favor, so I can actually afford to go to the spa.
Nice. Yeah, I went skiing a few months ago. I've got family who live in Colorado. And I do it once a year because it is insanely expensive. And I certainly had my share of crossed skis. I'm not particularly good at skiing, so I was just falling myself down the mountain over and over and over.
A paid hotel room during ski season that I'm not paying for because the conference is covering.
You're making Raccoons proud right now.
And then being able to be warm and look at the snow while I read a murder mystery, there's going to be nothing better. Have I made restaurant reservations for Montreal? No. Have I picked up my murder mystery? Yes. I have my priorities.
Well, priorities. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Priorities.
I had to play Trash the Planet. That 2-hour game has kept me from doing all of my chores.
That's fine. It's fine. We learned a little bit from these crafty raccoons.
Of course. We'll get it together. Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else, Laura? Or should we wrap this one up?
I think we should wrap this up. Thank you all for listening to our little 2-person podcast today.
Yes. Yeah, we're the short game schedule is all over the place right now. We're really there's a lot going on, and we're trying to keep consistent as best as we can with our release schedule. But if you're listening to this now, you probably we've probably been realizing we've been a little inconsistent lately. So thank you for sticking with us, but we're trying to get back on track. And that does mean a few of these smaller episodes with a smaller cast and crew, so to speak. So, we're always looking for recommendations. If you know any games, like I haven't played many modern clickers like this. If there's another game like this that you think we should absolutely play, or something else in this sort of time range, we absolutely appreciate those recommendations. You can find ways to contact us. There's several different on our website at shortgame.fm. You could also join our Patreon, which is where we, at this point, the vast majority of our game recommendations and really our schedule is coming from recommendations in the Discord from our patrons. And we are so thankful to everyone who's taken the time to join that and contribute in the Discord. You can find that, links to that, show notes, ways to contact us on what social media platforms we're still on, and all that again at shortgame.fm. And one last other plug as well to rate and review the show. It really does help. It only takes a couple seconds. We love the good words, but even just tapping those little 5 stars. 5 stars only, baby. Just go ahead and tap that real quick on whatever platform you're using. We really, really appreciate it. It is still one of the best ways to spread the show and make us show up higher. We compete heavily with a golf documentary from 15 years ago for our SEO. So the more you can help us get on top of that,
the better we are.
So with that, I've been Nate Heininger.
I'm Lauren Ash.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.